I would like to think I'm somewhat of a polar explorer. It's certainly not like the days of Ernest Shackleton and Robert Falcon Scott, but there are still things to be learned about the polar regions, and it's just extremely exciting to go there. It's a remote location, and there's just so much to learn. Greenland is a very large ice sheet, and so the ice is a couple miles thick, and Summit Station is right at the top of that ice sheet. And so, since it's so high in the atmosphere, it doesn't get very warm there. So the last time it melted was in 1889. We know that from an ice core that was drilled at that station about a couple decades ago. As you know, in June and July we had our own kind of drought happening and very high temperatures in the U.S., the central part of the U.S. And that air, because of the way the pressure systems were, that air got swept up into the Arctic and right along the coast, the western coast of Greenland, and then it eventually went up and over the ice sheet, creating quite warm temperatures. But it was actually the clouds that, that pushed the surface temperatures over the melting point and actually caused the surface snow to just melt temporarily. Clouds interact with radiation in different ways. We know that they reflect solar radiation. That's pretty, people understand that easily. You know, on a cloudy day it's a little darker, it's a little colder, but clouds also trap infrared radiation and like a blanket. So when a cloud comes over, say on a winter night, we know a cloudy night is warmer than a clear night. And so, so they have those compensating effects. They cool the surface because they reflect sunlight, but they warm the surface because of the infrared. We need to know more about clouds. We need to understand the details of clouds so that we can better model them in weather and climate models. Clouds are still the greatest uncertainty, or one of the greatest uncertainties in modeling. The polar regions interact with the rest of the globe. They are the portion of the globe that gives off heat. They give off more heat than they receive. So it's almost like the Earth's climate system's a big engine. You get more heat at the tropics, and then the engine gives off heat at the polar regions. And so we really need to understand all these different areas, the tropics through the mid-latitudes all the way into the polar regions. We need to understand clouds and weather systems and climate in all locations of the Earth. And as I mentioned, the polar regions are relatively understudied. They're hard to get to. Only crazy people like myself want to go there and spend the time freezing while you're doing your field work. And it's difficult to get data. And I think that's one of the reasons why we're spending more time there, is because it's understudied.